how did you first get started as a real estate investor?
Yeah, great question. So, like most people, when you get into real estate, you have a lot of limiting beliefs. You tell yourself these stories about, I don't have enough experience, I don't have enough money, I've never done this before, who would want to give me money? I can't find a house to flip. So, you start telling yourself these limiting beliefs. And I was doing the exact same thing, which is why I started in single family investing. It wasn't that I didn't want to be in commercial real estate. It wasn't that I didn't want to be in multifamily real estate. It's just I didn't know what I didn't know. And I thought real estate investing was one of two options. I thought it was flipping a house or buying a rental. I didn't really know that there was all these other avenues in real estate, right? So I got started the traditional way, and I started dipping my toes in a bunch of residential real estate strategies. So, I tried wholesaling for a little bit and did some wholesale transactions. I had some rentals. I did some flips. I have my real estate license, so I was brokering transactions both for myself and for friends and family on the real estate side. So I was dipping my toes in all these water and trying to figure out which one do I really like the most. And the answer was, at the end of the day, it was none of them. I preferred commercial real estate over residential real estate, although I still think it's a very powerful tool. But I just went out there. I started to go into events like the ones you have. I was listening to a lot of podcasts, reading a lot of books, spending time on a lot of forums, just really networking. And they're just saying it's not what you know, it's who you know when it comes to commercial real estate. And I was really trying to strengthen my network. So I started talking to wholesalers, started talking to realtors, started looking for my first deal. I used hard money on my very first deal, and just started looking for that first investment opportunity. And I wanted to buy a rental. That was my thing. It's like I want to buy my first house. The idea of flipping houses to me was a little bit more transactional. Not that that's a bad thing. I didn't really need the extra income at the time. So I wanted to start building my net worth and my wealth. So I was looking for my first rental, and I was off to the races.
Is that this one right here?
Yeah, that's that beauty right there.
Oh yeah, looks great.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's the lovely kitchen, but this is before you put in all the sweat equity.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about this deal.
Yeah, so this deal was I want to say it was in South Park, which if you know Houston very well is, it's an area of a lower income demographic. It's a lot of Section 8 housing, an area that is a little rocky, right? A little bumpy from a demographic standpoint, from a safety standpoint, but the houses are cheap. And maybe not so much anymore, because wait till I tell you what I sold it for, but they were cheap. So I bought this house straight from a wholesaler. And it's kind of funny because there's some stories in between, and we don't have to necessarily go deep in that. But my very first transaction, I would argue, which is not on here, I actually talked myself out of. So I had a deal from a wholesaler. The numbers worked. It was checking all the boxes that I had learned, or was trained. Like it checked all the boxes, ARV percentages, the 1% income, like all these rules that you sort of like the single family numbers, right? But I talked myself out of it because I was nervous. Right. And I even though I put money down with that wholesaler, I ended up backing out and losing that $5,000. Right. What pushed me into this house was a few months later, somebody else bought that house and I saw it on the MLS because I had my realtor's license. I knew what they sold it for, and they made over $40,000 on that flip. So that told me that I talked myself out of $40,000 and I would never let that happen again. So that pushed me into this deal. Right. And that was in 2017 or early 2017. This one was more like mid 2017. And this one, I was just talking to wholesalers, and this deal came across my desk, and I went and walked it, and it was like $50,000 or maybe $52,000 at the time, and I saw the potential that it had. I knew about the income potential in the area. I saw the potential to add a bedroom, which could help with the rental growth that I was looking for, and so I put that $5,000 down and went to my hard money lender, and I think I ended up closing and putting maybe like $7,000 or $8,000 down all in. So overall, construction-wise, you can see here,
It turned out pretty good.
It turned out pretty good. I believe I put about $50,000 in this house. So all in, I was all in for a little over $100K, and I did keep it for about a year and a half. But then the market, or 2 years, and then the market got really hot. So right around 2020, when I saw the writing on the wall that real estate was going crazy, I asked myself, like, am I ever really gonna get this much for this house in this area ever again? Or should I just take what I can get, or should I hold it for another 5 or 10 years, which would be great because I was cash flowing really well. So because I had such a great deal, I was cash flowing after the mortgage was paying, I think around $500 or $525 a month,
which is for single family, it's phenomenal.
It's just amazing for single family, right? And I was like, man, should I really get rid of this? But I was all in for about $100K. and ended up listing this and selling this successfully. I think at the end of 2020 or maybe beginning of 21, right when real estate was starting to get hot and the demand was crazy for around 170,000.
Yeah. I did the same. Jamie and I, we did the same thing for a few of our rentals that, especially the ones that were a little bit more high maintenance.
Yeah, I've got some stories on this one, but we don't have to go there. Yep.
What were some of your, how much did you end up making?
All in, I made about 65 to 70 grand because I was all in for about 100. I think I sold it for 167.5, somewhere around there.
Okay. And now, had you flipped this property, what do you think you would have made?
At the time, that would have in 2017. My flip, I still would have made money, but it would have probably been more like 20 to 25,000 versus the 60.